Coming to you live. Tank is going to tell everyone to fuck the right off.
Oh, I didn't tell anybody to do
With
that.
us tonight we have myself, Duchess Bobby, my lovely fiance, Gold Goon, and my sweet brother-in-law, who is no longer shitting his brains out because he's over the flu.
Yeah.
Tank.
Yeah, that was a rough day. That's what that was.
There is a nasty bug that is going around Colorado right now. I think that the three of us all ended up picking up something at Skate City with all of the little germy children touching everything.
Well, Dad had something last week too.
Yeah, see,
So,
Dad had it too. He was there as well. So
I'm sure I got it from
blame
him.
the 8-year-old's birthday party.
I'm pretty sure Monsieur Toaster had the same thing. I think I gave it to him. So the girlfriend got the same thing.
Yep. Gold Goon has a girlfriend, a fiance, and then the girlfriend's wife.
Mm.
We were out to dinner at Cheesecake Factory 2 weeks ago, and he said something about the girlfriend, and then pointed was like, and that's the wife. This is the fiance. And our server was like, well, aren't you guys just the cutest little poly family? Like, we were joking, but yeah, kind of.
The best part about that story is we made them take the fetish quiz last week. And Toaster was like, I didn't know you could be more than 93% vanilla.
No, what he said was, I didn't know a person could be 100% vanilla.
Yeah. And his wife was 93% vanilla.
Oh, wow.
We are not.
They're very, we're definitely the odd couple of the couple. We're the weird ones.
I'm not even 93. That's aggressively high.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Okay.
So you have to try to avoid stuff to get to 93.
So Smurf is still somewhere under a bridge, being inappropriate with all sorts of
Troll-like creatures.
delving trolls and such.
Still in prison.
There is that. And then King Goon is out in San Diego this week on a drinking spree. But don't worry, folks. It's for work.
Drinking his way through California.
Yeah.
Good God.
Last week he drank his way through Boston.
Yeah.
Now he's drinking his way through California and loving every minute of it.
SoCal has not been unpleasant to him. He has sent many pictures of what the brewers and distributors have done for him. And it is like $600 steak dinner after $600 steak dinner. They were at the Stone Brewery today doing stuff, and they have put him up at the finest accommodations out there in SoCal. So he's having a good time.
How do you level up to that job, by the way?
Oh, man, I was on my way there, and then my liver decided to tell me, no, you shouldn't do that anymore.
I'm not saying just the alcohol part. Just how do you get to that point where...
Well, he's been with the same company for what, like 20 years, 15 years?
No, I got him the job there.
Oh.
So he's been there for 6 years, something like that.
I know he's been in the industry for a long time.
He's been doing the beer game there since I left it there on his doorstep for him. So. You're welcome, Matt.
Okay, so we do have a lot to cover tonight. We still don't have our Anime Fest report because Smurf is
in jail.
Banging trolls under a bridge.
Yes, he is having intercourse under a bridge with trolls in jail.
Which is why he's in jail.
Which, speaking of intercourse, if you wear a smartwatch, turn those off or take them off before the sex. Because if you have a talk-to-text thing on your watch...
You may text your parents.
And then you have to explain to your father-in-law why he got a message that just says, yes.
It's a general rule.
So,
unless you are audio taping or videotaping yourself on purpose, you should be aware of where all of your electronics are and whether or not they're turned on during intercourse.
We're always aware of the phones themselves.
Yeah. The thing on my wrist, though, was far less important than the actual pants that I was wearing.
This is true.
Hey, sometimes you got to take extra steps.
You know. Okay, so I don't know how to segue from there, so we're just going to pretend like I came up with something witty and clever.
Yes.
And start talking about Moon Knight.
We are talking about last week's episode of Moon Knight, where our hapless hero and his hapless hero inner self, and I still think that there's a third person rummaging around in there somewhere.
Well,
and
they definitely hinted at that.
Yeah, they hinted at it a few times because there was another sarcophagus in the. Well, that's new stuff.
Trying to bang its way out, seemingly.
Yeah, and then there was another fight scene in this last one where neither guy would take credit for murdering everybody. But we have the penultimate, the hero becomes the villain because the gods all gang up on the hero god and put him in a jar. And
they don't put him in a jar, they turn him into stone.
Yeah, turn him into a statue, which, by the way, how many other gods do they have in there? Because that was a shitload of statues on that wall.
Looked like about 10, 12, 14.
Yeah.
It was a bunch.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Who else is locked away?
And then you get to see the number of avatars that there are walking the world.
Well, less than I figured, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought there'd be a lot more for sure.
Okay, no, so here's the thing. I think the first episode, when they're putting the big banners up at the museum, and he's all like, you guys are missing gods on this. You're only showing 9, but there should be 11.
Mm-hmm.
Or 12 or whatever it was. Like, those are the ones that are supposedly with avatars.
Well, and that's the thing, because I think they said it was 8 instead of 10, right?
Yeah.
Which, technically, even their interpretation of that particular pantheon is incorrect, because there's 2 of the ones that are in that group that aren't actually in that group. But for the purposes of their universe, they are. So, right. There's potentially other ones that are missing.
Well, and apparently there's at least a dozen more that are just sitting on a wall in the bottom of the Pyramid of Giza.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
And how they got water to not get stagnant underground in a desert, in a cave, I'm not exactly sure how that happened.
Because it's magic.
You know, I have the same question
and fire.
Watching Indiana Jones.
Also
fire
magic.
And water in places where fire and water should not be normally.
Well, they also found Alexander the Great's tomb, so
that was pretty cool, actually.
I liked the Macedonian moment where he was like, "But you told everyone he was Egyptian." Yeah,
that was pretty funny, actually, how they did all of that.
Yeah, so
it makes you wonder though, because like if they're missing from the thing, is that because he knows that they exist? He knows that the 2 are supposed to be there. Steven does,
right?
But why doesn't anybody else in the museum acknowledge that? That's the weird part.
Because they're not cool.
Yeah.
The 2 gods, not the museum people.
You would figure that, the people setting up the exhibit would have that knowledge more than the guy that works in the gift shop.
You would think so, but who knows?
So that kind of might be hinting at something playing in there, that maybe because Khonshu's in his head, he still has knowledge of them while everyone else has forgotten them because they were erased by the rest of the Pantheon, I guess.
It's very probable. I liked at the end of last week's episode where you get to see the embodiment of one of the gods.
Oh, Taweret?
Yeah. She's fantastic.
She is hilarious.
When you watch this week's episode, it's even better.
I laughed out loud when they opened the door and there's a giant fucking hippopotamus, bipedal hippopotamus, and she goes, "Hi." I lost my shit.
Yeah, that was a really good episode, and then we don't know what happened because he gets shot, falls through the earth seemingly, and then ends up in a psych ward. with all the people he knows, but they're not those people anymore. They're now patients and doctors and orderlies.
Yeah, Dr. Harrow is creeping me out.
Yeah, that's fucking horrifying, isn't it? That
So bad.
I don't know if he's creepier as the cult leader or as the doctor, to be honest.
Doctor, because the doctor has the mustache.
Do you remember that Lonely Island song that came out about 10 years ago that was called The Creep with John Waters?
Yes.
That's what Dr. Harrow reminded me of. Was like, aww.
So yeah, we're kind of left with a cliffhanger, which if you watch this week's episode, you get a little bit more information than that. But they leave you with a cliffhanger of what is reality.
Yeah, which is one of the fun things about Moon Knight in itself is that he's always fighting that in the comic books.
Exactly.
It's a battle against himself, against the god, and where is reality? Like, what is it? Is it the superhero? Is he in the psych ward? Is he part of the Egyptian god pantheon? Which pantheon of Egyptian gods is real? You know, it's just so beautifully done, and Oscar Isaac just, man, his duality of characters is just unbelievable. He's just.
Well, that's the thing. It's not even a duality. It's like he's playing 4 different characters at any given time.
Right, and he's just amazing. The guy is bloody brilliant.
I love him when he's like, "Excuse me, Mr. the Great."
Yeah.
It for whatever reason, that moment made me think of all of my nieces and nephews. Okay, maybe just like the 8-year-old down.
Mm.
Because I feel like that's something that they would say, especially your oldest.
Yeah.
She would be like, "I'm going to completely disrupt this tomb and tear apart this sarcophagus, but I'm going to be really polite about it."
I'm going to jam my arm into this former dictator's throat. And...
it reminds me of the whole Mr. Uncle Gonzo transition.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Excuse me, Mr. Uncle Gonzo.
But no, that was
Gul Dagoon is also Gonzo Dagoon.
Yeah.
And
No.
But they did a good job of presenting that, like the whole final part of that episode.
Yeah.
I agree.
Of what part is real, what part is fake, and what exactly is happening. I loved all of that.
I completely agree.
I feel like the more we get into this show, the more I want to watch this show.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I enjoyed the first couple of episodes, but the casting is so good that you feel these characters.
Well, and this is that with this one, I'm kind of getting the same that I was getting with WandaVision, to be honest. And it's you get to a certain point and you're like, please just give me more of what's happening.
Yeah.
Let's get to the next part, please. Let's get.
And you know, it's really beautifully done by Kevin Feige and the gang because it leads you to want them in more things. So like when we got done with the Scarlet Witch in the wardrobe, we wanted to see them in. We're excited about Doctor Strange because you know the Scarlet Witch is in there, and we're going to get to the end of Moon Knight. There's not going to be a Moon Knight season 2. But he's going to be in all these other movies now in MCU, you know, Phase 4 or whatever. And
I think they could do more.
Every time he shows up, people are going to be like, "That's fucking awesome," you know.
They could probably do more Moon Knight television. I think that's a distinct possibility. I think we're going to get the same thing with Daredevil too. There's certain characters where their story is so microverse compared to the rest that you can really play with the characters consistently without overexposing them.
I feel like Daredevil's a little bit more so just because there's so much more that can happen in that city. The Moon Knight character is kind of self-contained within, you know, the Egyptian gods and stuff. And then what does he do after that? He teams up with people is what he does in all the other comic books. He teams up with Punisher. And so that's when we're going to get him showing up in other people's movies. And Oscar Isaac's going to make himself millions of dollars off of this.
Namely, 2 other properties he's likely to show up in.
Spider-Man.
Probably. Well, I don't know about Spider-Man just because of the Sony thing. Maybe.
Well, that's true.
But it's definitely going to be Blade.
Blade.
And probably Doctor Strange.
If they revive Punisher, he could be in there too, because him and Punisher did a lot of stuff in the comic books.
Well, and once you get them all together, there is a common Midnight Suns thing occurring.
Right.
If you start wrapping all those guys together,
it could be a really cool thing down the way. I just the way Oscar Isaac talks about it like it's only a miniseries, and the way that everything else, I just don't think we're going to get a second season.
Okay, well,
if we do,
Andrew
I'm not
Garfield,
happy about it.
Well, Andrew Garfield lied to us for almost 2 years.
That's
so,
That's
just
true.
saying.
MCU is full of liars, but in a good way.
Oscar Isaac has already bagged on Disney a bunch with the Star Wars stuff, so I don't think he could be that good about it. But I mean, we've been wrong before. I get, the him and John Boyega thing when they were, after the Star Wars, when they all got let out of their Star Wars contracts.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that happened there that led me to believe that Oscar Isaac's a little bit more forthcoming than some of the other MCU actors are.
Unless he was told not to be.
Yeah, there's limitations on that also. There's certain things based on what your contract says. What are you allowed to talk about in public or not?
Right, that's true.
So, and he is seemingly signed on for more Moon Knight at some point.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, but
I feel like his character will definitely be sticking into the MCU. It's just whether we're going to see him on the small screen or the big screen, we have to wait and find out.
And I told you guys before I got on this cast, every episode that I watched, what did I say? Give me Moon Knight. And it has not disappointed me.
Oh, no, it's amazing. Yeah, and today's episode, whoa.
Holy shit, I can't wait till next week to talk about today's episode.
Oh, man, like, go out and watch it. Get ready for next week, because, whoa, they blow the doors open again with what's happening in this story.
So good.
And it is utterly heartbreaking, and one rather large chunk of it.
Yes.
But you really get to know Stephen and Mark.
Mm-hmm. And you get to not fully understand, but you get a better comprehension of the dichotomy that exists within this person.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we've mentioned it several times. Let's go ahead and jump over to Doctor Strange, which has been banned in multiple countries in the Middle East.
Yeah, all the countries where it's illegal to be gay.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, so
Disney refused to pull out one key component of one key character in Doctor Strange 2, and so
which applaud Disney for making a human decision rather than a money decision.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Because we don't a huge component of America Chavez's character is that she has lesbian moms. That's her parents.
Yeah.
And obviously in Saudi Arabia, they kind of frown on those things, and countries alike. And Disney and Kevin Feige, and assuming their entire board, has decided that, well, it's so important to the story that we're not going to compromise it for you.
Yeah, I was very pleased to see that. Benedict Cumberbatch was saying that he's disappointed that the press tour has changed, where they're going to be allowed to go has changed. So it's an expected disappointment, is how he put it.
And Benedict Cumberbatch is 100% on board with all of that. I mean, he's played both sides of the fence in several different roles.
Yeah, because then what he says after is we have to push for inclusion. And I'm glad that Marvel and Disney are pushing for this.
Yeah,
right?
and
incredibly supportive of their decision. He's just upset that these countries are being douchebags.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying. Seemingly, based on what he was saying, he's more upset at the idea that this is still a thing.
Absolutely.
This is an issue that exists. Not that he doesn't get to go on a world tour and through the Middle East, but
that's not his problem at all. The problem is that it's still a thing. So, let's see.
It's understandable and is disappointing for everyone on their side of the world, honestly.
So, A giant freaking robot is one of the sources that we've looked at for this. And the quote is, "We say huzzah, not only for including the character, but for giving her a big role." And that, they're basically saying, you know what, Disney and Marvel, we're all going to back you, even if these countries are being, douche nozzles. The countries in which this is not going to be in, where Doctor Strange is not going to be allowed, are Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. Are the big ones where there were press tours scheduled.
Yeah, and they're 100% right. Altering the character at that level, because it seemed, and a lot of people would say, well, why does it matter? Her having two moms is a gigantic part of why she becomes a hero. Yeah. In general. Like, that is a huge part of who her character is and who she becomes. So, and with them seemingly kind of bringing her in, I'm assuming for a large role when it comes to the Young Avengers stuff that they're going to be doing in the near future, that's pretty important. You can't take out a key aspect of a character like that.
Yeah, it's like saying that Batman's parents just moved away.
Yeah. Yeah, when Batman's parents don't die, Thomas Wayne becomes a murderer. So keep that in mind.
This is true.
So I would just like to applaud Disney and Marvel, because this is the second time we've talked about their inclusion initiative. And it's not even called that anymore. It's just, we're being inclusive, suck it up and deal.
Shit, it's about ready to get them kicked out of Florida. The Ron DeSantis in Florida is moving to remove all their goodies and kick the whole corporation. Kick the whole corporation out.
Let's see if he remains in power if that happens.
Right, there is so much money funneled in to Florida from Disney. It just
Disney World. That's all you need to say. Disney World.
Last report, I think the Disney Corporation had the 4th largest navy in the world.
That sounds about accurate. Plus, they have Captain America.
That's also insane. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump over to Batman. And Robert Pattinson's Batman has been picked up for a second movie. Batman 2 has officially been announced. We don't have all of the details as to what this storyline will be, but we do know that so far Batman has earned over $750 million in the box office.
Yep.
And Robert Pattinson is going to be Batman for at least another film, if not a couple more.
Matt Reeves is coming back.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is really funny because Jensen Ackles, who has been the voice actor for Batman in the Long Halloween parts 1 and 2, has said that he won't watch the Batman because of Robert Pattinson, and that being Batman does not require sparkles. And so he's joking about the fact that he does not think that Robert Pattinson is the right actor to take on this role.
And that was one of my big complaints going into this, was I'm not sure how exactly this guy gets this role, but watching the movie itself, I get it. Like, that was not a complaint of mine, was the Bruce Wayne Batman character in itself. I thought he was a pretty good Batman, and I thought they didn't really portray him.
He wasn't a great Bruce Wayne, but he was a great Batman.
He didn't get a chance to be Bruce Wayne at all.
Well, and he's a good version of this Bruce Wayne so far, because this is the early Bruce Wayne, who's a little bit petulant, a little bit naive, very short-tempered still.
Yeah. I thought his portrayal of the character was one of the brighter parts of the movie, to be honest with you.
I know that you also said that you're hoping that the second Batman movie has more than 3 notes in it.
2. I need more than
No.
2. If they had a third note, I would be fucking thrilled.
Yeah, I rewatched it. I still don't like that last half hour of that movie. I like it as a part of a different movie.
Yeah.
That I still like. When you watch it, I'm like, God, they really needed to cut this off right when the water walls get taken down. Right then, he needs to have this acknowledgement of fear,
Yeah.
and that's how it needs to end. Of oh shit, what just happened?
They told the entire story instead of leaving it a little bit short. And
Yeah.
then what happened was they couldn't have a cliffhanger, so then they had the Joker in at the end of it.
Well, I'm assuming someone told them, like, well, there's not enough action in this movie, because up until that point, there's really only like 2 action sequences in the entire movie, and that's the car chase with the penguin, and then the gunfight at the club. Like,
I'm not complaining about the lack of action either. Like, but
No.
right, if they would have cut the story off there, you would have had a huge cliffhanger, and you could have gone to another movie using these same and introduce another bad guy. And now you have the Penguin who's in power, and possible Joker returns.
Honestly, I think if they had just cut out everything that was in the Coliseum, like the walls break, and then you see the Riddler talking to the Joker, right?
Yeah.
With the laugh. Cut out everything that happens in the Coliseum.
Yeah, because only
right? that like 20-minute blurb.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not. I guess not the entire last half hour, but that's the part I'm talking about. Is everything that happens inside their version of Madison Square Garden. If you take that out, there's really only 2 things that happen in that sequence that have any importance to the story potentially in the future. But even then, you could have left that out, and it still would have been fine. You could have put that in the next movie.
Right.
Well, they just the DCEU needs to hire us to help them with their film editing, because we got this, yo.
Yeah.
And we're getting a Penguin movie and an Arkham or Penguin series and an Arkham series coming out of this, so maybe they'll help explain stuff. And you have 2 more shows coming out of this. You didn't need to add everything else. That was the biggest problem with that. And then, like you said, that
now the second movie.
Yeah, and then change up the sound a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But. New sound designer, new soundtrack.
And I'm hoping they don't jump straight to Joker. I'm hoping that is 3. That is movie number 3. Maybe end with him breaking out of Arkham in 2. Or something like that. I really want 2 to be the Court of Owls.
Oh, that would be fun.
Because that's a young Batman story still. So you can really get into the Court of Owls. And
it's one they haven't told yet either.
Not much of. They've given a little bit of it in the animated stuff, but not
right. But it's never been on the big screen.
No, never really expressed how much of an influence the Court of Owls has over the Batman storyline. But
like we don't know what the storyline is going to be for the Batman 2. We just know that it's going to happen. I'm sure we'll get some teasers and some press releases coming up here within the next couple of months. So we will continue to cover the Batman.
I have one early thing that I think they're definitely going to do, because they pulled part of the story is pulled from the No Man's Land storyline, and that heavily relies on Bane at a certain point.
I'd be all right with them retelling a Bane story. I mean, the Bane we got obviously first was awful.
Yeah.
Bane,
Tom Hardy's not awful. Are you talking about the?
No, I'm talking about the first iteration.
Oh God, the Batman and Robin version.
The only good part about
the Batman Forever version.
Yeah, the only good part about that movie was redhead Uma Thurman and skin tight. Literally the only good part about it.
But then the Tom Hardy Bane
Hardy was good.
He was good, but he got his nuts cut at the end of that movie. He should have been more impactful at the conclusion of that story.
I agree.
All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to go back over to the MCU, and Bad Bunny is going to be in a live-action Marvel movie as the first Latino lead in a live-action Marvel movie.
Good for this guy.
That's technically not the MCU. That's the Spider-Verse.
Okay, well, it's part of Marvel.
But it's Sony's Marvel.
Right.
Fair enough.
But he is the first Latin superstar, El Muerto.
Yeah, which is really cool, honestly. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Bad Bunny's music, but...
No, but El Muerto is a fun story.
Yeah, he's a really fun story, and Bad Bunny did a little bit of stuff in wrestling not too long ago.
Yeah, he was in WrestleMania.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he has the personality, I think, to do really well as a lead.
I agree. I think, like you said, I'm not a huge fan of his what he does, as far as the sounds. I'm just not. That's just not my generation of sound. I do really enjoy his showmanship.
Exactly.
And, I was a little bit like, wow, he's going to get into WWE. And then when I saw him doing it, I'm like, man's kind of good at it.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty good ring presence about him. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Not to go off topic, I actually had the same thing happen with Logan Paul. Is that who it was? Yeah, Logan Paul. He participated this year, and I was like, oh, God, really? And then I was like, you know what? He might have been the most impressive person in that match. He's such a dick, and he lets it just flow out like, I am an asshole, and I want you to hate me.
I can't even deal with Logan Paul after the Pokemon card fiasco.
Oh, did you see what happened with his WrestleMania gear? He wore the Pokemon.
Oh yeah, he had that
$2
million card around his neck that he punched a hole in.
Yeah, and he wore that into WrestleMania.
Yeah, he had the Illustrator card, and it was he put it in around a chain on his neck. Going into the arena, it's like a $2.5 million card. It's more money than a diamond's worth. It's a piece of fucking cardboard.
Yeah, and he wore it to WrestleMania to prove that he's an asshole.
Right. Yeah,
and
because he got scammed on $5 million worth of G.I. Joe cards.
Exactly. But, Bad Bunny's in that same vein where it's like you're not expecting much, and then you're surprised. You're kind of like, well, that was actually pretty fucking good. All right, let's keep going. And that's kind of where I'm thinking about this. I'm like, I'm not impressed by the music, but you have a good stage presence. You have good, I don't know, facial expressions, good timing, good personality. Like, yeah, turn him into a supervillain. That sounds good to me.
Anti-hero.
Oh, sorry, anti-hero. My bad.
Dead dog.
That's how they're describing his character, is as an anti-hero.
Yeah, he wants to do the right thing, but it's basically that the storyline involves, not to get too much into it, but he's a luchador wrestler, and he challenges Spider-Man to a charity wrestling event, and if he wins the charity wrestling event against Spider-Man, then he gets to unmask him. That's like the whole premise behind El Muerto.
Yeah. It's kind of like El Macho from Despicable Me.
Well, that's exactly what it's saying for the movie synopsis as well.
Yeah. So that's the story that you're telling with that character. He has a very specific story, and it's going to be good for kids. I think kids will get a kick out of that.
It's going to be much better than the movie we just got with Jared Leto.
I haven't watched that yet.
Well, I'm excited to see what kind of cosplay comes out of this, because Marvel started with Black Panther bringing in people of color as lead superhero characters. And then with 10 Rings.
I mean,
we also had Miles Morales, which was a pretty big one.
Yeah, but that was animated. I'm talking live action.
Cosplay for this is, I mean, it's a luchador.
It's a luchador mask.
Yeah, so it's Rey Mysterio's done it for 30 years and people like
Yeah.
that. So it's more mainstream now because that's Bad Bunny will make it more mainstream and
Say, like,
being in this movie. But it's that kind of cosplay has been around for, but it's not even cosplay. It's just you wear a mask and tights.
well, and especially in Mexican wrestling, which this is the inspiration is Mexican wrestling,
Right.
The luchadors. That is, the mask is a huge aspect of that culture. It's not just a costume. It's a culture thing. Like, there's guys that didn't take off their masks in public for 30 years.
I went on a rabbit hole about 20 years ago watching luchadors because we were doing backyard wrestling in my younger days, and went down this rabbit hole of Psychosis. And he was one of those guys that never took his mask off, but his mask was like he had horns and everything. And the guy was insane. The guy, he was good.
Yeah, there's a huge tradition in Mexican and lucha wrestling where if you wear the mask, that's who you are.
Yeah, it's like Mandalorian type stuff.
Yeah, like that's who you are in public. You don't remove that mask. Like that's why there was so much outrage when they had the Mysterio losing his mask thing.
Yep.
20 years ago.
There are a lot of Latin Americans that still have not forgiven him for letting his mask get taken off.
Exactly. Like, there's people who think he shouldn't have it now, 25 years later, after that. Because it is a big part of their tradition. So this storyline's kind of that same mindset. So it is really cool, though.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens. And again, going back to that whole inclusiveness,
mm-hmm.
The fact that we're getting people of color in the live action, superhero films makes me happy.
100%.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what else do we have on tonight's agenda? Let's go ahead and stick with musicians who aren't exactly known for their music, but for their branding, I guess. Wu-Tang Clan.
Wait, that's a big claim to make, that they're not known for their music. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't say not known for their music. Just meant that they're a brand name now. They're not just known for their music.
I was going to say 36 Chambers is
people who are much, much younger than the albums that are out that wear yellow Wu-Tang Clan shirts is just astounding. It has become, and she's right. It's much more of a brand now than it was. When we were growing up and the music was actually out, it was much more of a subculture, especially for people like you and me, Tank, who are not persons of color.
No.
To me, listening to that kind of music was kind of like, ooh, this is bad, But you and I both grew up with it.
Yeah,
and so. Wu-Tang. Now that it's mainstream, it's coming to Fortnite, which is also mainstream.
Yeah, we're getting a Fortnite character skins.
Who's getting all of the Wu-Tang Clan money now, though? Is RZA all of it?
I'm guessing Meth is still getting a decent amount.
You think Meth and Red are still getting a bunch?
I don't know if Red is. I know Method Man is still involved with it pretty tightly, and I know RZA is still connected to it. I'm assuming whoever they have as the skins, that's going to be the people getting the money. So who are all the skins going to be? Well,
they're calling it Wu-Wear.
Oh, so it's not going to be the actual characters?
No, they're making skins for the game.
Yeah. So, and then you can choose the outfits of the characters, and you can either do with a cap or with no cap. Right. So it's Wu-Wear Worldwide Back Bling.
Oh, okay. I'm seeing the pictures.
That 10 times fast.
Okay, so they have someone dressed up like Meth. They have someone dressed up like RZA. They have a red man. Yeah, those are the ones I can see out of the pictures. So I'm assuming they're the ones getting the money still.
Because, let's see, Redman's doing his own thing, but he still hangs out with Method Man, so I'm assuming he's still getting some money.
Well, I'm assuming they're, yeah.
Jizza's doing a bunch of stuff. I'm sure he's getting a little kick of it.
Well, and RZA's been doing the movie thing for a
RZA
while.
and Jizza have both been doing soundtrack stuff.
Yeah. Well, not just soundtracks. Wasn't it RZA that was in Man with the Iron Fists?
Oh yeah, that's right.
They're on tour again, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because there's a couple of them that aren't around anymore.
I think there's only one of them that's dead, isn't it? Isn't only one of them dead?
Ghostface still alive?
I believe Ghostface is still alive. I think I would have heard about that.
Because I know Old Dirty's Chinese restaurant is dead.
Yeah, I think he's the only one who died because pretty sure Inspec is still good. Masta is around. Jizz is around.
Well, one of the things that RZA says is Fortnite's been in the household for years. And this is the collaboration of multi-generational drip of swag and cool.
Yeah, he's still around.
It's for dangerous.
Interesting. I didn't know that his name came from one of the characters in the 1979 Kung Fu film, The Mystery of Chessbox.
Oh yeah, they have a huge connection.
Mystery of Chess Boxing is a movie?
It's a movie.
Yeah.
We have to find this movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Kung Fu movie.
most of their stuff is connected to that. There's a huge Kung Fu inspiration. Like they've been doing the show on, is it Hulu or is it?
Yeah. Well,
HBO?
I mean, most of their music comes from all the movies that were like 36 Chambers and all that stuff.
Exactly.
I just didn't know specifically Ghostface's name was a character in a movie called Mystery of Chess Boxing, which we've referenced several times on my podcast.
Yeah.
I have to check that movie out.
Yeah, My Brother is an Idiot podcast with Gold Goon, King Goon, Dipshit, and Milty, with Tank doing the occasional guest starring, does actually talk about different weird worldwide sports. One of which, and the whole reason that topic came up on the worldwide sports on My Brother's an Idiot is
Chessbox.
Mark and I were playing a trivia game in the car. I was just kind of killing time while we were stuck in traffic on the way down to the Springs. And there was a series of questions about chess boxing. And we were like, no way that's a thing. It's totally a fucking thing.
Yeah, I've watched several chess boxing matches.
You know, other really weird worldwide sports. Did you know that in Canada there is toe wrestling, similar to thumb wrestling, but you do it with your big toes?
In Scotland, they have wife throwing or something.
Wife carrying.
Wife carrying.
And bog snorkeling.
Yeah.
It looks. Oh, this is interesting. Oliver Grant.
If your wife is not heavy enough, she has to carry weights, so that way those who have non-dainty petite wives are not being discriminated against.
Yeah. Well, that's the same idea as horse racing has for centuries. If your horse comes in underweight, they add weights to the saddle to make it even. All the horses weigh the same.
So apparently RZA is the one who still owns the logo for Wu-Tang.
Well, that explains why RZA is referenced more than anyone else in the articles.
And then him and Oliver Grant own the clothing line. So I'm assuming they're the ones who have most of the merchandising owned for that, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. So to answer that question, that was asked a
For
while
those
ago.
who enjoy Fortnite
Yeah.
and believe that Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with,
Yes, enjoy your new gear.
enjoy your skins.
We love the Wu.
All right, so let's see what else we got going on. Bop, 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 so many things. Okay. Ghostbusters 5, the fate of the next movie after Afterlife. That's not what it's going to be called.
No. You just gave away the whole thing. It's not what it's going to be called.
I know it's not going to be called After Afterlife.
No, but it appears to be in some form of production.
Sequel to Afterlife, same cast. I would not be surprised if we see the original Ghostbusters again doing cameos like they did in Afterlife. When Afterlife came out back in November of last year, it made more than $200 million at the box office. It only had a $75 million budget. So, and this was back when theaters were just reopening and everything. So very, very impressive with those numbers. We're going to get the same cast of characters. I really enjoyed Afterlife. I thought it was really well done.
Me too.
Same here.
So seeing them continue on with the Ghostbusters franchise for this makes me happy.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't really have anything to add to that.
Well, and yeah, there's almost no information at this point except for that it's happening. So, sure, once they get more of the production aspects set up, we'll get more information.
Yeah. But the important thing is that they're not replacing any of the characters as far as casting goes as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I would not be surprised if we see some of the original guys coming back for more cameos.
They're going to have them half in CGI and half in animation.
Well, all
right.
but one.
We're going to talk half CGI, half animation. We have to talk about Chip and Dale. Because the Rescue Rangers are back, baby.
Tank, did you watch this?
Did I watch what?
The trailer?
Yes.
For the new Chip and Dale?
Yeah,
I can't tell if it's a good idea or a really bad idea, but I am strongly leaning towards really bad idea.
I am leaning towards really bad idea as well.
Yeah, so am I, which is disappointing because I like the Rescue Rangers.
I love the Rescue Rangers, but replacing them with celebrity voices, I think, is a terrible idea.
I mean, that's not the part that's the most disappointing, to be honest, but yeah.
I'm also kind of, a little bit, I don't know, this,
it's ruining our childhood?
Yeah.
They're a little bit sketchy about how they're doing it, because I am.
Yeah. Like,
that's one of my bigger issues, is how they're...
Dale is CGI and Chip is regular animation, and there appears to be other broke down Disney animated characters in this show that are coming back, a la Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which Roger Rabbit should just be left as it is, as Roger Rabbit, and Chip and Dale should be a different thing.
See, and that's my mindset, is I love the Roger Rabbit story. I love it.
Well, I fucking love Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That movie is fantastic. Oh my god, it's Tim!
But I don't get the same feeling from this that I got from that. Even though they're seemingly trying to present it in that same manner.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that at the end of the trailer, you also see Chip and Dale's dancers.
And at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, because
Chip and Dale's dancers, they're like, when you think of Chip and Dale's, you probably think of these. No. I think of Chip and Dale and Baloo and
Gadget.
Yeah.
What was the little fly's name? Zipper.
I don't know what I think.
I think that it's going to be a catastrophe.
I'm hoping not.
Pessimistically hopeful.
I was actually really okay with the reboot of DuckTales. Basically because Lin-Manuel Miranda was going to be one of the voices. And I will watch anything that he touches.
Oh, yeah.
But it didn't have a big success rate. Like,
I didn't watch it.
It lasted, what, like 2 seasons tops?
I didn't even watch it. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Sounds correct.
But just Stop ruining my childhood.
I don't know. My favorite part is the old, seemingly drunk Peter Pan. So
That's what I'm saying. Like the old, like broke down characters. here's 60-year-old Peter Pan who still can't grow a 5 o'clock shadow, and he's all just hammered on the street.
the problem is, it's my favorite part because it's so fucking horrifying.
Yeah, it's so awful.
That's the problem. Is that I'm not excited to see it because I think it's going to be good. I'm excited to see it because there's a sick part of me that wants to watch this just blow up.
Hashtag train wreck.
Yep. Chippendales train wreck.
Oh God, I don't know.
Chippendales dumpster fire.
I know I'm gonna watch it. I don't know if I really want
I'll
to.
watch at least one episode.
Yeah, I'll give it a couple.
Oh, it's a movie.
Is it a movie? I thought
It's
it
I
was
thought
a
it was
show.
going to be a show.
Wow.
No, it's a movie.
Well, then I'll watch it while I'm drinking.
Direct to deep Disney Plus.
Direct to stream. Yep.
Okay.
And then
There it
it'll
is.
soon go back into the Disney vaults.
Yep.
The Disney vault is got to be one of the smartest marketing ploys of all time.
Yeah.
You love Cinderella? You can only buy it for 6 months, and then it's going back in the Disney vaults. We don't have to come up with new shit. We'll just bring the old shit back for a limited time.
That's a hell of a model.
Oh, God. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying it's brilliant.
Did you guys see, speaking of Disney, that the original Space Mountain is getting torn down and getting replaced, and they're going to open a new Space Mountain in Disney Tokyo?
I actually did not. That's a real
Yeah.
thing.
I just remembered I saw that today. And I that ride was so cool back in the day. And like, I don't even like roller coasters, but that one was so much fun just because of like the story that it puts you through and stuff.
I've only ever been on it once.
Oh, hey.
Oh, look! He's back from under the bridge! He's gotten paroled! Smurf! It says you're here, but I see you not.
Hey!
Hey!
He's not under the bridge. He's in the wherever.
The comic book room. Hey,
Cave.
how was
Yeah.
Kale?
Holy crap. This is Smurf 2.0 Quest for a new liver. And we are ready. We are ready to spread our geekdom across the planet and then some.
You know, we were actually discussing that you were doing that under a bridge, and that's why you've been in jail for the last 2 episodes.
Now you're
enjoyed
spreading it
this
to the
drunk
wrong
cast
thing.
I enjoyed this drunk cast member far better than the other one.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Drunk Smurf
oddly,
is happy Smurf.
no, I am a very happy Smurf. Wait, drunk. No, wait, which? No, both. So the problem is I have been subject to a person is writing a YA novel and I am one of the characters. They are using my life experiences as one of the characters.
It doesn't sound like YA, by the way.
You know what? Oddly enough, I held a very unique and common yet uncommon experience in high school. I was a jock. I was very popular. I had a lot of friends. I was very well connected. I knew everybody. Everybody knew me. So evidently, I am very John Hughes. Ah, yes.
We need
like
to
that.
get you a boombox.
Oh, unsi. My name is Dita, and I am here to tell you this is the time when we dance. We bring out these little glow sticks, and we do the unsi, and we dancey, and at the end of the party, we all are very drunk and very happy. So what were we talking about? I did not mean to crash this party. Yeah, I did. And I did.
It's okay. I'm glad you're here. I've missed you.
Oh, I missed you guys too. Tank and the Brothers Odd. Ood. Are you Ood or Odd? I don't know
Goons.
which.
The Goons.
Goons, I don't know. Goons means you're coming out at halftime with a hockey stick head hunting. I like
Yes.
Ood because You're not exactly odd, but you're not exactly ood. You're just,
They
you're
can
there.
be the oods like from Doctor
Doctor
Who.
Who.
Who is good?
Yeah,
I've got a
absolutely.
pretty good singing voice. I can go.
Yeah, I
with
could totally see. You know what? I could see you breaking into an acapella, with a little wine, little tuxedo, a flashy hat.
that.
You
Yeah,
alone think you know people. No, you break into song and dance, and everyone's like, "God damn, I wish I was that ood."
I prefer a stiff martini or a shot of bourbon to a glass of wine. But yeah, that sounds like
Oh,
me.
Yeah,
bourbon.
the photo shoot where you're wearing the tuxedo, drinking a martini at the piano.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There you go.
It was our New
You
Year's
can-
Eve picture photo op.
That's perfect, and you can never go wrong with bourbon, in my opinion. So,
Absolutely.
He actually just got a new one in today because we're trying
Nice.
different types of bourbons, trying to figure out what types of booze mahal we will be serving at the wedding reception. Right now, we've decided on yes.
I need to be part of this conversation, and yes, because
Ooh,
who do you know better that knows
whiskey.
bourbon than me? Come on,
No one. I want that Japanese whiskey that I had when I was
that
at.
plum whiskey.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so
That
good.
is
good.
compliments of Lily, and also another meeting that I had today because June 18th we are hosting International Sushi Day. It
Oh,
is
wow.
free to the public. There will be more details to come, but there will be a contest of sushi chefs. There will be a taiko drum kit. There will be lots of activities. And June 18th, look for more details to come soon from 5280, as well as the Nerds That Know, because it's kind of what I've been doing. I have been a busy Smurf. Very busy.
All right, so speaking of busy Smurf, you went
Yes.
to Anime Fest last weekend.
Yes.
And we did not get to sing you happy birthday last week. We're not going to because I've been drinking.
I'll sing.
But we would like to tell you happy birthday. I do actually have a birthday gift for you on the kitchen counter.
That's true.
It's been here for a while. But tell us about Anime Fest.
So Anime Fest
like
was
dirty
very
old man.
so Anime Fest was very interesting in the fact that they so they held closely to the masks, the cards, and a lot of things that I don't think were necessary. It was very light in attendance, and there were a lot of people that had a good time, and it was fun, but it was obviously not geared towards our age demographic.
Yeah. Now, Anime Fest, I will say this, is more age appropriate for us than like NDK.
That is very true.
NDK, I have jokingly referred to in very non-joking manners about all of the inappropriate old men and pedophiles that go there because of the young girls wearing the anime costumes.
That was still there.
Yeah, but Anime Fest, it is less so.
It was a little more controlled, and it's in the hotel that was previously the home for Starfest, which, if we haven't gotten into, we can cover here momentarily. But it was a fun time. It was very relaxed, and it was fun. It was fine, and it was kind of a very kind of kickback, relaxed event. I was fine. I wandered around. I hung out with a couple of different friends that actually recognized me, and it was a good time. So
You're
it was
a
fun.
recognizable dude.
I even with the mask, oddly enough.
One of the things that I liked the most about the Denver Fan Expo that was held last October is the anonymity that the mask gave me, because so many people, plus I wasn't wearing ears or a tail, so most people see the purple hair, cat ears, and a tail, and they automatically know it's Bobby. I was not wearing ears or tail, and I had half my face covered with a mask. So people who I know on site, and I can look at them and be like, "Ha, I'm gonna be a creeper."
Because what's Bobby without a voluptuous tail?
This is true. Although in the dress I wore that day, I did have a voluptuous front.
Well, you are curvy in all the right spots, and you would have made a lot of anime girls envious with said curves, because the cosplay really was kind of mediocre at best. There were some standouts, but all in all, it was just kind of, I've seen better, and I don't know if I want to contribute it to mostly COVID and everyone kind of getting back into the swing of things, but I have seen better, and I have seen worse. So to be fair, it was very middle of the road for me.
You know what? Middle of the road is not a terrible place to be.
No, not right now.
It's definitely not the goal, but it's not a bad place to reside.
It's not the end of the road, which is good.
All right. So let's go ahead and keep pounding through this agenda. And I did use that word exactly the way I intended.
I was going to ask.
Okay. What do I want to talk about next? Okay. Roku has made a deal with Lionsgate to get a bunch of their movies and shows and such. Anything that premieres on Stars will now also be on Roku and available for streaming.
Which is pretty good for them. I mean, there's a decent amount of stuff attached to Lionsgate still, so.
Absolutely.
Well, Lionsgate has kind of found itself in this weird vacuum between like Fox and Disney and everything else, where they have like some very interesting properties, very sought after properties, and I don't think they know what to do with them. I honestly think they're like, so who do we sell these to? Which is really awkward and kind of, that one single white guy in the corner that doesn't know who to dance with at the prom. It's really weird. So what do you do when you have things that like people want, like your Pokemon cards? I'll trade you this. But I mean, you really are really at a disadvantage. And I really hope Lionsgate figures it out. And Stars has some amazing properties that I think we need to see, because I'm not paying for Stars right now. Are you guys?
Absolutely not.
I don't have anything I actively want.
No.
Yeah.
And if you had Stars right now, you could watch Venom. They have the new Venom 2, Revenge of Carnage, or Carnage Rash, or the Rash of Redness, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. I don't even know. But they're
Venom,
the ones
use
that
an
have
ointment.
the rights to this. What's that?
Said Venom, use an ointment.
Yes.
Yeah, they have the rights to the Sony-owned Spider universe.
Odd
Yeah.
that the disease we're talking about is played by a Woody.
But
Love you.
like one of the biggest sellers for them, I'm assuming one of the main reasons that Roku decided to do this was that they're going to get first runs on John Wick and on there's like 3 other ones, like the Borderlands. They're getting that
Expendables,
which
Yeah.
those are
so,
decent
John
properties.
Wick, Expendables, and Borderlands are the ones that they're really like holy shit about.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's also going to be a couple of Nicolas Cage movies.
No, the new one.
Yeah, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Which is fantastic.
Is it? Have you seen it?
Yes.
I want to see it.
So good. Oh my God. I cried.
So
I
I mean,
wanna see it.
we're looking forward to seeing what happens with Roku.
I honestly think that they got it cheap. And that's why Roku is in on this, because Stars is hemorrhaging at this point. And I think they're just willing to just jump in with whoever's going to throw money at them. They got it cheap. and they have nothing but rewards to reap out of this.
And you have to assume they paid a giant pile of money for the Sony properties.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know they paid a shit pile of money for the Power universe, to the point where he's trying to buy them back right now. 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson is trying to back the Power universe while it's still in production.
So
that's their biggest driver right now. That's by far their biggest driver right now for Starz, is the Power stuff. Like, it by a huge margin. It's crazy. But he actually thinks he's losing money because of it, so that should tell you where Starz is.
It's like going to Sci-Fi and pitching Battlestar Galactica. No, really, it'll make you money. We promise. Yeah, we don't believe you. Fuck all.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about a show that is currently doing really well on streaming, and that is Picard.
Expanding the character of the new imperfect Borg Queen and the new Whoopi Goldberg Guinan character, and which episode are we covering here? Are we covering 7 or 8?
7.
Okay, so we can't go too far into that.
No, because we can't cover 8 without spoilers. But to this point,
we didn't talk about today's Moon Knight.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we can't talk about today's Moon Knight. And I don't understand Moon Knight because to date, I think we have seen in Moon Knight costume 2 full minutes of the costume in action.
Yep.
2.
Yep. And
2 minutes.
I'm still okay with that.
No, I am not. I have problems with that.
I would say 3 minutes if you count when you get Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight counts for half of that.
Yeah, I was just saying, Mr. Knight was there for a little bit.
Yeah, I hate Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight had a whole fight scene and a whole moving sky scene.
I really appreciated when you got the Mr. Knight, Moon Knight, the crossover during this most recent episode of Moon Knight. I know we're talking about Picard, but I'm just going to say this anyway. Where he's all like, give me control. Okay, you have control. I lied. Take it back.
I am so fed up and past this. I don't care anymore. It's jarring. It's disjointing. It's horrible storytelling, and I don't give a shit. I mean, I'm past frustrated. The first 2 episodes, great, awesome build-up, and then it just went to shit. It's like every single Marvel comic to date. We know how to start. We can kick off a story like no other. But in the middle and the end, we just fuck this up. It is horrible storytelling. It's lazy storytelling. And I can't take it anymore. Why? 2 minutes of Moon Knight in costume. It's worse than a Spawn comic. I would rather sit and listen to him bitch by a homeless person pissing himself by a trash can than listen to this guy whine about, no, I don't want to put you in charge. I might die, but I don't want to put you in charge. Fuck this. No, I'm tired. Sorry, did I say I'm tired yet?
Not yet.
We can't tell if you're tired, Smart.
Can't tell if I'm tired.
Talk about Picard.
Let's go back to Picard.
Yeah, we didn't even get to Picard. We're still on Moon Knight.
I think Tank and I completely disagree with your assessment of Moon Knight, but Oscar Isaac has been absolutely brilliant.
Oscar has been great. I love the dynamic. I love his acting. I love the switching back and forth between the personalities. But from a writing standpoint, I'm spent. I can't do it. I know what we were expecting, and I expected more. I really did. I really did expect more out of this.
So, anyways, Picard.
Picard.
We're talking about the old guy.
The old guy in the suit with the cat and the chick that's possessed by a Borg queen.
Yes.
And then you have Then you have Rios, who's trying to woo the lady doctor from 400 years before he was born.
It's probably his great grandmother, and he's his own great grandfather.
You know what? I think I've seen this before, and it's called Back to the Future 3.
Yeah, right. Well, for that matter, it's Back to the Future Part 1 too.
Yeah, there's so many things. You know what? I like the idea of Picard, but at some point, I got tired of the time travel. I got tired of the alternate dimensions, and I'm just sitting here slamming my head against the desk going, why can't we do something better? We have Q. For fuck's sake, we have Q. And this is what we come up with?
Because
Why?
it's all fan service. It's all fan service.
And we've seen 3 minutes of Q.
Yes.
In today's episode.
Yes. We have seen more of the Moon Knight costume than we have seen of Q, who is a character that is like the linchpin to the entire fucking story. What the hell? Why? Just why?
Because it makes you cranky.
No, what made me cranky was the fact that Guinan forgot the entire Tom Sawyer adventure with Data's head and this whole disjointed story.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, I was the same way. The two biggest plot holes in this entire season have been Guinan forgetting the Mark Twain episodes and the spotlight operator knowing when to turn the spotlight on the Borg Queen.
Exactly. I mean, it was firmly established. The whole reason she likes bald guys was because one was kind to her. No, and Tank laughs, but the whole point of that story, Guinan liking bald guys, was because one was nice to her at one point.
Yeah,
they just threw that whole fucking story out. What the hell? And why can't Whoopi play Whoopi at that point? I mean, it's not like she's doing anything physical. She's serving drinks. Why can't
she has to bleed from the nose occasionally and stays in the walls and stuff?
I'll help her bleed from the nose. I'll punch her in the mouth. It's fine. This is ridiculous.
You're a giver, my friend.
This was disappointing at its worst. And there were so many plot holes, to your point, that I just don't understand it. I don't get it. This is lazy writing, yet again. You have so much to pull from, and this is what you give us. Why?
I think the Guinan thing is what's bothering me the most.
Exactly. I mean, I like that we saw how we got 10 forward for the name of the bar. That was very original, and it was very clever. But after that, it was like this sharp bobsled ride straight to Nowheresville as we disconnect from everything that we've established thus far.
Any good Trekkie can tell you, because they had the technological readouts of the Star Trek Enterprise USS Enterprise 107.D, that 10 forward was on the 10th floor in the forward compartment, and that's why it was called 10 forward. But it was a cool, nod to the 10 forward when
it was a nice nod, and it was very heartwarming. But at this point, that was about as far from everything we can hope for Picard at this point, because it has gotten nuts. I don't get it. I really don't get it, and I don't consider myself an expert, but for fuck all, I don't get this.
All right.
Tank, what do you say? You are so quiet right now. You're just shaking your head.
I'm not
Tank
as
also
deep
missed
of I'm not as deep of a Star Trek thing, so I'm just I'm acknowledging things that I don't know about.
Hey, that was my
I'm just kind of watching the story take place. I'm confused by the story, but my involvement in the Star Trek universe is somewhat limited to the movies, to be honest. So, I just kind of been taking it, but it does seem like you were saying, it seems like it's a bunch of call-outs.
Yeah, it's 100% fan service. It's like the first couple episodes of The Mandalorian, where they're doing the Mos Eisley Cantina and that kind of thing. But this has been seasons of call-outs, and I'm still enjoying the shit out of it. But as often as I can see Jean-Luc Picard on screen until the man is buried, I'm going to enjoy every single second I can get of Patrick Stewart on screen.
And I'm worried about Patrick Stewart because even during the show, he seems very
Frail.
elderly. Yes, and I don't know if that's intended or not. And I'm kind of concerned about that.
It's almost like Patrick Stewart never fully recovered from the way he acted in Logan. And it's very, it's honestly very depressing. Like, I'm glad you said something because I've been thinking about it the whole time. Like, holy fuck, Patrick Stewart is ancient now. And I love him to death, but like they're showing shots of his hands, and I'm like, there are millions of liver spots on this dude's hands. And I just like, we need as much screen time of this guy as possible while he's standing upright until he collapses dead. You know, like it's sad, but he's still good.
Okay, so here's my thought on that. It's like Betty White looked better the day before she died.
Oh, 100%.
Hashtag Professor Picard. I'm absolutely convinced that we don't have Patrick Stewart much longer in our lives.
Oh my
he's
God.
80. So he's 80 years old.
Yeah.
He's what?
He's 81 years old.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
all right.
He's been acting for 50 years.
Enjoy this guy. Enjoy Jean-Luc Picard in as many episodes as we can get him in, and take a break on the actors because we're enjoying one of the greatest actors that ever lived.
One of the things that I loved about him is when we were right in the height of quarantine, when he was doing a different sonnet every day.
Poetry. Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it. Fucking loved it. Like, I watched those religiously.
Well, and to be fair, we get the final hurrah for season 3. It's done at season 3, and maybe that is probably a very well planned execution. We make it through this. We see how it goes, and I don't want to bash on it horribly. It's fun. It's great, but at the same point, I'm tired of the same trope of time travel and alternate dimensions. Give us something new.
Well, do you think that's what the issue is with season 2?
Yes, I absolutely do.
That they acknowledge that there's going to be a season 3, so they don't actually have to put the story here. They can just put all the fan service in season 2 and then tell the real story in season 3.
I would agree with that, because if you look at it from the standpoint of just how everyone's just kind of dialing it in, I mean,
everyone's dawdling around is the way that I've been looking at it. Like, seems like nobody has agency to do anything.
No.
That whole episode that we covered last week with the amount of, basically Star Trek The Next Generation fan service of going inside the kid's mind, and we have the psychologist who ends up being his dad and stuff. It's all very Star Trek fillerish.
Yeah.
So I see your point.
It was very holodeck.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no agency.
It's very Data learns how to dream episode, or the Ferengis go on a fun hunt and that kind of thing.
So this is where, like, kind of the way you feel about Moon Knight so far is how I feel about this show, where it's, at least with Moon Knight, there's agency. We're not getting a lot of Moon Knight, I understand that, but there's agency to the story. They're pushing the story forward. The story is moving. This story doesn't seem to be moving. It's just kind of sitting there and idle for a little bit.
It's splashing water. You're a 5-year-old and the 3-foot end of the pool, and you're just splashing. That's all you're doing.
It's been the day before the launch for the last 4 episodes.
Yes. It's a good way to put it.
But I'm enjoying the shit out of it because God save Patrick Stewart. And anytime you get Glenn Steiner on screen is great. And John Delancey and all those guys.
Oh, and I love Patrick Stewart also. So I would agree with that. And watching him is...
He's a treasure. He's a worldwide treasure.
And we'll see him in a couple weeks in Doctor Strange. I can't wait for that. There we go.
Seemingly his last appearance is Professor X, I would assume.
We'll see.
I wouldn't rule that out yet.
So, Smurf, you had not yet joined us, and I really want your take on this. They're calling the next Ghostbusters movie Ghostbusters 5. They're making a sequel to Afterlife. We all enjoyed Afterlife. We're excited that they're going to do another movie with the same cast. But is it actually the 5th movie?
I was very argumentative when I saw Ghostbusters 5.
So it's very up in the air. There's a lot of elements to consider here. So Ghostbusters 5, if you consider 2016 part of canon.
I don't.
Now, here's the rub. A lot of people want to include 2016 as an alternate dimension and have it part of canon. And that's up to the fans' other gatekeeping kind of issues. The
I'd say
problem
that's kind of up to
is,
Jason at this point, isn't it?
well, and here's the issue, and here's the rub. Nobody has been named as far as who's coming in for Ghostbusters 5 or Afterlife. We know that they're going to do another film. Jason hasn't signed on. Nobody has signed on for the next film. Just the
Officially.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues of whether or not Jason's coming back. With Ivan's passing earlier in the year has caused complications within the family. And of course, Jason doing Ghostbusters Afterlife was a tribute to his father. So, and Ivan was very much part of the film. He filled in for Spangler in a couple of scenes. So it's a very big, sensitive spot. So we know they're doing it. And I had told you guys we were doing this a long time ago. I had a source telling us we were going to do this a long time ago.
I know, but they've officially, confirmed all of your shit.
I know. I was right yet again.
I do
You
have
know
an
what? If
interesting.
we could, we would give you stash cash.
Yay!
What about the real Ghostbusters show? Does that count as canon still?
The cartoon?
The other cartoon.
The other cartoon? That is still kind of part of canon, but that's another dimension. And that has actually worked into more of the comic books for IDW than it has the movie verse. Same as the video game. The video game with Rookie and everything is yet another universe, and it doesn't play directly into Ghostbusters Afterlife or any of that.
Well, see, and wasn't that like the technical sequel?
Yes.
Like technically was the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that is, I mean, that's still kind of in a bubble and a vacuum. With the final credit scene and the containment unit failing in New York leads to a whole new bag of worms. And I'm praying that we go back to New York with the new team and the old Ghostbusters and this giant unification. But the question, and this is something I brought up on my podcast this week, is if you don't get Jason to do this, you can have the story, but was Jason the heart of the story? So Afterlife, without a doubt, made a lot of us Ghostbusters cry, and even non-Ghostbusters cry. So if you don't do this film with Jason, will the heart be there? I don't know.
Probably not. But that does bring up the question, do you think even if he does it, does he bring in the 2016 Ghostbusters?
I don't know. They're talking about unification and bringing everything together and making it one solid universe. At least that's what Sony's intention is.
Everyone minus Harold, obviously, because they kind of let that go in the end of Afterlife.
Yeah, because Spangler is dead. We know he is done. But Sony is so crazed about having a franchise, something that they can call their own Pirates of the Caribbean. They so badly want this. And in the press release that showed the new Ghostbusters film, they want to do a Avengers-style universe where everything is all-encompassing. So what that looks like remains to be seen, but I'm excited to get Paul Rudd back as a Ghostbuster.
All I can say is as long as I get at least one Ernie Hudson saying, I'm getting too old for this shit at some point in one of these movies, I'm going to be happy.
Absolutely. And I
I'd
can
say-
see that happening.
And here's the issue: no matter what, this is the wrong thing for Sony to try and hang their hat on. No matter what, because
Yes.
the issue is that if they do a 5, that's a big, or well, when they do the
No, it's
5,
not.
yeah, if they get Jason back, if they get Finn back, if they get all of that cast, and they get Ernie to come back and somehow manage to get Bill back, whatever, if that's feasible, that's not the setting up for a future of the franchise.
I mean, I guess it depends on how they set it. If we go back to New York and we go back to the firehouse and the containment unit, I mean, it has the right groundwork, but like you said, I don't know if it's enough to carry it forward.
Well, and if it's not Jason doing it, then who would you possibly trust moving forward? Because Jason did it. It was him. It was a love letter to his father. That's what that fucking movie was.
Yes.
So that's why it was successful. The storyline, fine, whatever, but that's not where that story didn't matter because of the story. The story mattered because it was that relationship that mattered.
Yeah. So
And
without
it was
Jason, that heart.
It was told beautifully.
It was.
Like, I think that, a lot of people really just were emotional watching Afterlife.
Mhm.
But we'll see what people think about Afterlife.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been talking a lot about fan service, so let's jump over to the Halo TV show.
Shit,
this
that was
show
awesome.
has been a lot about fan service. I'm still really confused about what the fuck is happening. And that little girl with the shitty bangs, I just want to punch her in the face.
She's a miserable little bitch.
She has a bad haircut. I hate her bangs.
But besides you hating her bangs, episode 5 is right in line with the story they've been telling. What sets up the known universe of Halo. And even my favorite part was legitimately the sassy ass little call outs by Cortana.
Oh my god, she's becoming the Cortana that I know and
She's
love.
becoming the Cortana from the games, with the smart ass remarks.
She is
and all
my
that
favorite
stuff.
character.
Yeah,
And
even Bobby, who never played the games, she's in the middle of it going, oh my god, Cortana is awesome in this episode.
Oh yeah, and that's who she is, and that's who she ends up being in the games, is this smart ass little AI that lives in his brain.
Snarky ass little shit giving you pointers the entire time.
And I like how they're kind of paying homage to a lot of the stuff from the games. They're doing a good job of it, and I like the story. It's good still. They're moving in the right direction with it, and I hope they finish strong. That's it at this point.
We finally saw grunts and jackals.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
And the jackals apparently have shields and plasma sabers. Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, but we saw that in episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we saw the elites with the plasma sabers, but we didn't see the jackals with the sword, with the shield and the plasma saber, which that was a development that I hadn't seen before.
I love how devastating the plasma pistol is in this show.
Oh my god, it's
doesn't do anything close to that in the
games.
I'm waiting to see a good Needler fight. That's what I'm really waiting to see.
The one dude get axed right on top of the fucking
Was it in
on the warthog?
The warthog, that was wicked. The Needler kills on the warthog. I was like, that was the way you do
so
that.
Good.
Her just explodes and then vanishes into dust.
Where apparently blood can not only color your hair pink but also bleach it. Where she's talking about how much the Needler is her favorite weapon. She's like,
yes.
Look at how beautiful this is. And see here where all of these just kill people.
And they're heat-seeking missiles, too. Like
it was beautiful.
That's the most effective weapon in the game.
Besides that wasn't a love letter to the fans. I don't know what was.
It's the same way my sisters talk about their children.
Oh, and that jackal, like, dragging itself out of the crash site with its bottom half missing.
Oh God, that was so good.
I was like, wow. They would never did that in the games. That was
All right. Tell you what, Moon Knight may not have enough action for you, but Halo has plenty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Problem is, we took so long to get here, and I think we have lost about half of the audience before we got here. And I know, like many fans, like myself, shit themselves when he took his helmet off in the first episode. Like, what the hell? I mean, I love that it's the Leprechaun from American Gods, and he does a spectacular job as the chief.
Yes, John Spartan, yeah.
Yes, and it is so good, and it is so well laid out. And I'm afraid we lost a lot of the fans along the way that didn't have the patience to see this through.
Yeah, I'm hoping not, because
I hope a lot of people aren't as snarky and internet laden as we all are sitting here. But
have you met nerds lately? Are you kidding me? They are exactly snarky and gatekeeping little bastards.
I'm usually one of the snarky guys. You should have heard my take on the Batman last week. That movie is awesome.
No, I heard it. I posted it up. I listened to it.
But I am absolutely in love with this Halo show. I think it's beautiful the way they're getting to it.
You know what? The only thing that I'm hoping to see, and I don't think we'll get it, is the Battle of Reach. Because that by far is my favorite Halo game. And I would really love to see that reenacted on the screen to bring in the war. And as much as I know we probably won't get it, I'm going to be disappointed in that.
I think we're going to have to.
Season 1, but I think it could be a season 2 type thing.
Yeah, we're going to have to, because the eventual end of the show is them getting to the Halo.
Right. And that's the Battle of Reach. So I keep hoping, and I think the sniper is the one out of reach with the mechanical arm that we lose halfway through the game. She's one of the first characters you lose in Reach.
Oh, who, Kai?
And I'm and I don't know if I'm right, but I think that's her. I don't know for sure though. So if at the end of the series she ends up with a robotic arm, I'm betting we're getting Reach. I think really
they have to get Reach. They have to do Reach. They're going to have to, because that explains why there's no more Spartans.
Yeah, the way they're setting it up is they are setting it up to lead directly into, Combat Evolved, which is the first game. They, the very first moment you get is him putting the helmet on and, testing all the things. But this is all leading to that point where he's the last Spartan, and they've already, you get the elites calling him the demon already, and you got the backstory of why they're calling him the demon because of
that lad, whoa, he went nuke on those the grunts and jackals. Holy shit, that was awesome.
Oh my god.
But he needed to do that because I was getting tired of this mamby-pamby flashback baby Spartan, I don't know what to do. And he just kind of sat there silent for 2 episodes. And I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. I want something out of Master Chief.
Here's the thing I'm wondering. Who kills Halsey?
Me. I will kill that bitch.
I don't know. And I think I'm trying to remember the games, but I think she ends up dying through something else other than him. I think she's at Reach when it goes.
Yeah, she's on Reach.
I want to say it's her daughter.
It's probably going to end up either being the daughter or Captain Keyes.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
The daughter or the husband?
Yeah.
See, I was actually leaning towards God, what's his name? Wow.
The dude who left? His friend?
No, I honestly thought it was the human chick that was working with the Covenant.
Oh, the Blessed One?
The Blessed.
Yeah. I really like that development. That's a fun character.
Yes.
That's an interesting character. Yeah.
It is. I could see her kind of doing the cloak and dagger, slipping in and giving Halsey what she's looking for. And at the end of that conversation, Halsey doesn't finish it. And I'm very hoping that's the story that we get at the end of season 1.
Why can I not think of who I'm thinking of?
Sorry. It'll come to you. Go to the Halo IMDb. Look at the cast list.
That's what I'm doing right this second. Yeah.
How did I know? Do I know my brother or what? All right. Well, Tank is looking that up. Let's see what else we got going on. Okay. In the Avengers comic book series, Black Panther has officially been replaced.
Yeah.
Meh.
He's off fighting his own war against his own people, so he's got to go make more comic books on his own because they're really popular right now. So they moved him off of the group effort with the Avengers and replaced him with Nightwing. But
Nighthawk.
That would have been interesting. I'd be way more interested if they replaced him with Nightwing.
Right.
Like, oh shit!
They replaced him with Darkwing Duck.
The terror that flaps in the night.
Exactly.
Now I want to watch Dark.
But T'Challa, because he is so much of a popular character, I think they had to pull him off of the Avengers comics and give him back to Black Panther so they could make more Black Panther comics.
Probably.
And I think something bigger is coming for the Avengers, but I think this is more of a hallmark to what's coming for the films. Because when we had Fantastic Four not coming into the MCU or MCU, depending upon your take, we had that's a different podcast. But you had like X-Men
next week.
You had Fantastic Four. You had all of these like top tier comics that got shelved by Marvel. And I think with Boseman's passing, they're not exactly sure what they're going to do with the Black Panther. So they are effectively shelving him until they figure out exactly what they're going to do.
Probably. And the person I was thinking of was Soren.
Oh.
All right.
Interesting.
Because I think that's how he gets his final, goodbye. I think is he takes her out, and then that's kind of him paying his penance for the rest of the Spartans.
All right.
So, but I think that's
a good theory. I like that theory.
All right. So I'm still going to say it's the daughter.
That's very possible, yeah. That's most likely is going to be the daughter, but
My money's on the Chosen One.
Blessed one.
Yeah, Blessed One. Same thing.
I'll
Chosen,
go with, just to be the different person, and we can all have a different answer. I'll go with Captain Keys.
you know what? Very valid answer.
You know what? I honestly think, and no one's going to see this coming, and this is probably what they're going to do. I could see the Master Chief taking her out.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
Just crush her
especially with
skull.
all of his memories coming back.
Something triggers, like, because there's this whole mystery of why was she there? What
He
was
tried
she
to kill her.
doing? And he's already had to snap once to Tank's credit.
He went for it.
He did.
He's
So
gonna break through
would not be
Cortana shutdown.
surprised-
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if Master Chief takes her out.
You could go very cartoony, and Master
Crush
Chief
her with a grab
and
hammer.
Captain Keys are smoking cigars, and then they offer her a cigar, and it's an exploding cigar.
Wow, this
But
sounds
then
like
you
my
get
last
Captain Keys
weekend.
with a cigar, and her head blows up because it's the cartoon cigar.
I still think it'd be funny if he crushes her skull with a grab hammer.
Oh, I'm good with that too.
Let's do it Acme style.
It's the brute hammer.
You're just upset that you haven't seen Captain Keys with the cigar yet.
I am extraordinarily upset that there has not been a Captain Keys cigar moment.
It'll
It's
come.
In the meanwhile, we'll just play whack-a-mole with her head. That's
Give her the brood hammer.
All right. Speaking of whack-a-mole,
I forgot about the brood hammer.
the internet went fucking insane and was freaking out everywhere about the Twitter buyout.
It's still going insane. Have you followed Elon
Who
Musk?
cares?
Yes.
He's
So
gonna
another
buy
rich
all the
white guy
McDonald's
owns
and
another
all the
big-ass
milkshake
company.
Machines. He's gonna put the cocaine back in Coca-Cola.
Does anyone care?
No,
Legitimately?
no,
If
I
you
made
don't live
money
on
off
Twitter,
of it.
do you give a shit?
I don't. I made money. I don't give a shit. Go on. conquer lands, fly your fucking car in the stratosphere. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. It's another rich white dude buying out another company. Who fucking
If
cares?
I had the money, I would fucking do it. All right?
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
I'd do it and actually shut it
Hashtag
down like
rich
he said he was
white dude.
going to.
I would encourage porn. I want every naked person to expose themselves
porn.
as much as money can supply. Just put it all out there. I don't care.
Now that Tumblr's been 86, and put into the softcore band, Twitter has become that.
It
It
is.
really has. Oh my God. I have a client who I help manage their social media, and they sell a bunch of porn. Like that is they are a porn industry, porn company. And so the things that pop up on the Twitter feeds that I have to like follow, like comment on, and it's bad porn. It is so bad.
Like gross porn or poorly
No,
made
just
porn?
like shitty porn.
Oh.
Like
Produced porn?
like there was one where like it's two dudes and like he has his combat boot on the other dude's head while he's butt fucking him.
I just
Get over my obstacle pile.
I'm gonna 100% be honest. That's not where I thought that story was going.
That is not where I thought that was
I
going.
have a hamstring pull just thinking about that.
Wow. Pulled a hammy in that story, I'm not going to lie.
But I was going to a completely different place. That
So hardcore.
if that tells you where my leanings are, I went a different
Gives
way.
me a Charlie horse to think about.
Wow.
All right. Well, that is everything we have on the agenda, unless there's anything else that you fellas think that we need to discuss.
Oh, I think we can end with head stomping butt fucking and just cover that there.
I think we just named the episode.
And on that bombshell, we shall say goodnight. Thank you all for joining us. We are the cosmically gathered nerds that know. I am Smurf in quest of a new liver. Bobby, the bodacious heavenly bodies. Something Ood. And of course, the brilliant Tank. Give us a like. Give us a share. Follow. And we want to share us. Be us the dirty secret that you want everyone to know about. But in the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night!